Cassie told the jury that the freak-offs made her feel disgusting and humiliated and worthless.
She did say these freak-offs lasted between 1 and 4 days, and it would take her an equal amount of time to get her body recovered, to rehydrate, to rest.
Well, I think we're going to learn a lot about the nature of Cassie's relationship with Diddy.
Cassie Ventura just named Christina Form as keeping tabs on her for Diddy.
The second thing that was discussed this morning, will the media be able to see video of these freak-offs?
Day 2 of testimonies in the case against Diddy has concluded, and shocking new revelations have emerged. Cassie took the stand and testified that Diddy allegedly forced her to engage in sexual acts with escorts. In a deeply disturbing account, she claimed that Diddy even forced the escorts to urinate on her. The graphic details of the alleged abuse have left the courtroom stunned. Prosecutors have now called one of the escorts to testify, who is reportedly speaking out against Diddy as, well, in another major development, hotel staff have come forward alleging that Diddy paid them to keep quiet about what happened behind closed doors. Cassie broke down in tears during her testimony, but what...
2 witnesses were called today, including a former security officer at the hotel, where Diddy is seen on video attacking Ventura brutally. You remember that video back in 2016. The prosecutors played the video. The witness testified that Diddy tried to pay him off with a giant wad of cash. The day's second witness was a male escort. This is where it really got very juicy, who says that he was paid by Diddy numerous times to have sex with Cassie while Diddy sat there in the corner, debating and watched. He says he once saw Diddy throw a liquor bottle at Cassie and heard him beating her in another room.
The disturbing details emerging about Diddy's alleged abuse paint a horrifying picture and reveal the depths of his actions. According to prosecutors, Diddy didn't act alone. They claim a network of individuals, including his chief of staff and bodyguards, helped cover up the abuse. He reportedly paid off hotel staff to stay silent, and in one chilling incident, allegedly kidnapped Cassie after she attempted to escape. The abuse Cassie endured was reportedly so extreme that even an escort hired by Diddy refused to participate. In what was being asked, these new claims add weight to the growing accusations and further expose the extent of the alleged manipulation, control, and violence.
Emily Johnson actually said that Cassie did choke on the urine of an escort when Diddy forced this escort to allegedly urinate in her mouth. They did say inner circle numerous times, I believe, really trying to amplify the RICO charges. Diddy couldn't have done all of these crimes without his inner circle, right? Without his bodyguard, without his driver, without his assistant. They talked about alleged kidnappings. That one time he kidnapped his assistant to go and try to find Cassie when he thought Cassie was cheating. I mean, it was wild. I feel like I could go on forever, but I won't. At a certain point, wasn't able to perform for Diddy and Cassie. He got erectile dysfunction because of what he saw. He said he saw Diddy at one point after an encounter drag Cassie by the hair from her computer seat all the way back to her bedroom while she was kicking and screaming and crying. And after she apologized and came out, he said that Diddy said, okay, you guys want to continue, and he couldn't perform. And that was it. From there, he could not perform after that. And he saw Diddy abuse Cassie 2 or 3 more times after that as well. And this is a muscular guy. He was 41 years old, a bit smaller, but again, he seemed incredibly affected by what he saw.
And was there, just quickly, Lauren, was there a point where he talked about, because I was trying to follow the blogs, and it's hard, you were in there, it's difficult for us on the outside. Did he talk about Cassie at one point being under the influence of drugs to the point that she was slumped over, and Diddy still wanted him to have sex with her?
Diddy allegedly showed no concern for Cassie's well-being, reportedly subjecting her to physical abuse, beating, dragging, and punching her whenever she resisted participating in his so-called reek-off sessions. According to Cassie's testimony, these Disturbing sessions could last for days, leaving her so physically depleted that she required IV fluids just to recover from the exhaustion. One particularly alarming claim involves the first time Diddy allegedly drugged Cassie without her knowledge. Her drink was reportedly spiked, and it wasn't until the session ended that Diddy told her he had given her ecstasy.
Cassie told the jury that Diddy forced her into drug-fueled sex acts with male escorts while he watched, sometimes sitting in the corner and masturbating. Through tears, she said she took drugs to numb herself, ecstasy, pain, and caffeine, all of it allegedly supplied by Diddy. She said the freak-offs included as many as 4 male escorts at once and typically lasted 36 to 72 hours. The longest, she said, the longest freak-off that she said she was forced to perform in lasted 4 days. She said they took place around the world, from New York to Miami to Spain to even Turks and Caicos. And at every stop, Cassie said the hotel rooms were stocked by Diddy's staff with baby oil, condoms, and drugs. And she says that these hotel rooms, this is disgusting, the hotel rooms were left covered in baby oil and covered in blood and covered in urine. Cassie told the jury that the freak-offs made her feel disgusting and humiliated and worthless. But she said she couldn't say no because she says Diddy threatened to release videos of the freak-offs with her.
Just before they broke for lunch, Cassie Ventura described how freak-offs actually became a job, lasting 36 to 48 hours, the longest one lasting up to 4 days. No wonder the participants needed IV fluids after a freak-off. I'm just curious, to Lauren Collins joining us at the courthouse, how was the jury responding?
What I will say is Cassie made a point to say that when she wasn't making music, she was actually having to, quote, recover from these freak-offs. And again, she did say these freak-offs lasted between 1 and 4 days, and it would take her an equal amount of time to get her body recovered, to rehydrate, to rest, to detox from these drugs. It was really, really sad to listen to.
The situation was reportedly so disturbing that even the escorts involved began to express concern for Cassie's safety. According to testimony, after witnessing Diddy violently assault Cassie when she was unable to perform, the atmosphere shifted. One escort identified as David stated that after seeing Diddy strike Cassie, he became deeply uncomfortable and refused to continue participating in the so-called freak-off session.
Said on the stand, at one point she said that a male escort had urinated in her mouth and she actually choked on it. And it was at that point someone in the courtroom actually had to walk out of the door there while, Diddy sat at the defense table listening on here. But as she was describing these events where she said that, there were multiple male escorts that were happening at one time, these freak-offs would happen for 2, 3, the longest 4 days at a time. And control is the word we need to talk about. That is what prosecutors really laid out. And you heard Cassie describe how every action during these freak-offs, which were between her and male escorts, not necessarily between her and her boyfriend, Sean Diddy Combs, he sat off to the side really directing things according to her and masturbating along with what he wanted to see. But he was in control, she said, of exactly how they did everything, from the platform shoes that she needed to wear, the clothes that she needed to wear, occasionally masks, wigs, whether or not the male escort could ejaculate, where he could ejaculate. Everything she said was controlled by him. And mind you, Brian, his children, 6 children, are in the courtroom at this point listening to all of this. And the jury was picked knowing that they needed a certain level of comfort to hear these types of descriptions. It was very emotional and really tough to hear, Brian.
According to disturbing reports, Diddy would allegedly sit and watch as Cassie was forced to engage in sexual acts with escorts, paying them between $4,000 and $6,000 per session. One of the most shocking claims is that Cassie herself was the one who contacted the escort and asked him to urinate on her. However, she later revealed that this wasn't by choice, it was out of fear. Cassie says she was terrified of what Diddy might do if she refused to comply with his demands. She also testified that every time she tried to escape the situation or distance herself, Diddy would track her down. His employees and bodyguards were allegedly used to monitor and control her, making it nearly impossible for her to break free from the abuse.
Once he saw Diddy beat Cassie, he could no longer, perform and be engaged, because before he said even if they hadn't paid him, he was excited to be part of their world. He was enjoying that kind of activity with them. And then things started changing when he saw one time he was on the couch, Cassie was at her computer, and Diddy, he said, was in Cassie's bedroom. Now, Diddy apparently called out to Cassie to come into the bedroom, and she allegedly told him, just hold on a second, my personal information's on the computer. Now, Daniel describes being absolutely shocked when all of a sudden a liquor bottle, Diddy throws it from across the room right toward Cassie, and then he comes running towards her, grabs her by her hair, drags her into her bedroom and tells her, when I tell you to come, you don't wait, you just come when I tell you. And he says he then heard, after the doors closed, Diddy slapping her, beating her, yelling at her, and Cassie screaming out, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. And he says he was just kind of frozen in place. He didn't know what to do. And prosecutors asked him, why didn't you intervene? Why didn't you go inside? And he said, look, I know this is somebody with a lot of resources. Quite frankly, I was afraid for my life. Now, that drew a lot of objections from the defense, but the judge allowed that testimony. And he, again, reiterated that he was scared in that moment for Cassie, feeling like she was in a dangerous situation, but he didn't feel it was safe enough for him to intervene.
We thought what we saw in that awful video from the Intercontinental was bad, but to hear the actual graphic details of what Cassie and others endured day after day for years is just completely heartbreaking. And to hear the sex worker actually tried to offer her aid when, she was being beaten, and literally she went to him for solace, as opposed to the person who supposedly loves and cares about her. She had to jump into the arms of a sex worker, and he was literally like, this is not okay. You need to leave this relationship. And she did, unfortunately, what so many survivors do, which is, I'm okay, it's going to be okay. Basically, I can handle this. And the reality is she really needed to get out because she was being violated and degraded in so many different ways. And my heart just breaks for her so much.
No, but you're so right. Ours do as well. What's it going to be like today when she is perhaps called? We think that she's going to be witness number 3. We have a clip where we caught up with her lawyer outside of the courthouse on Monday. Let's take a quick look.
How is Cassie? Is she emotional? Is she feeling okay with this? Is she nervous?
She's ready.
She is ready. She's also pregnant. God bless her, and visibly pregnant too. So in the later stages of her pregnancy,